Hi guys, good morning. We're here on a Monday morning. Hi Kelly, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Very good. It's exciting because today we're actually together. Kelly's right here by my side. You guys cannot see her, but we are here at my new office, which is exciting in Harrisburg. And we woke up to a white morning. Not too bad. It's actually not too much snow, but just enough to look pretty outside. So today we have a topic to you guys that's going to be going over how to prepare for this coming market in 2023 now that we just entered, and how to better yourself and prepare yourself to purchase in 2023. But as usual, we're just going to do a little quick recap. And as usual, Kelly will be the one taking the honors on that one. So last week.
Yep. Last week we talked about how to make your offer more competitive,
Yeah.
and we had 9 different things that we talked about: having the pre-qualification first, seller assist. That's a thing now, so that's with the buy down. The buy downs are helping to make the offer a little more competitive with a lower interest rate.
Yeah.
20% down appraisal waiver, that's huge. Having a little bit more earnest money to put down, along with having a higher down payment.
Yeah.
Limit any asks or extras, kind of helps.
Yeah. We mentioned about the inspections and getting that waived potentially, and we explained that a way to counter that would be to get a home warranty just to protect yourself as the buyer, but eliminating the contingency on inspections would make it more competitive.
Yep. Higher purchase price, which having a little bit more earnest money.
Yeah.
Waiving certain contingencies, what Amy just mentioned,
Mhm.
which goes along with limiting any extras, kind of the same thing in essence.
Yeah.
And then having an escalation clause in the purchase agreement with offering a higher amount, but maybe not necessarily always have to go up to that amount.
Yeah.
But that escalation clause protects you.
Yeah, it takes you there as needed. And then we also mentioned about the appraisal contingency, if you're able to completely remove that, if you have enough money, or you can just determine a specified amount to cover any gaps, and then that guarantees the seller a certain amount and makes your offer more competitive as well. So that's basically what we did talk about this past episode. And then today's topic would be to prepare yourself for buying in 2023. So that's our topic of the day. But I love to go over the myth. And today's myth kind of ties in a little bit into the topic, which is a lot of people think that checking their credit score will hurt their score. That's not entirely true. If you check your score yourself, that does not hurt your credit. So if you go to those public sites like Credit Karma or Credit Sesame, you can actually keep an eye on your score without hurting your score. But if you also are talking to a loan officer and not necessarily ready to get started but would like to have an idea, they are also able to do what's called a soft pull. And Kelly, maybe you can kind of explain that a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So when doing your pre-approval, we can, if you're not ready to have the hard pull on your credit, we can do a soft pull, and the soft pull still pulls most of the information through, but it doesn't affect your score with the soft pull. So getting started for 2023, this soft pull ties in with what I'm going to talk about when it comes to managing your money, but taking a look at what you have going on now to make sure you don't have any hiccups when it actually comes time for you to put an offer in the house, purchase a house. But that soft pull will help me and go over the credit report with you, but it will not affect your score on the soft. If you do a soft, when you say soft side, soft pull on your credit.
Correct. And that's really, really key, and it's going to really tie in into getting ready for the 2023 market, which is our topic of the day. So there's different things, right, Kelly, that a person can be doing to really prepare themselves. And we always say that a recommendation, a lot of people think, like, I don't want to talk to anybody because I'm not ready yet, when in fact they should be talking to an agent and to a loan officer probably 4 to 6 months in advance before they want to buy, because we can give you guys so many hints and tips on how to better prepare yourself for when the time is right, instead of when the time is ready for you, you might not be ready fully because we didn't know what to prepare, what to do ahead of time. So we're going to give you guys some tips on how to prepare, but we are definitely in agreement that ideally you want to get started on that 4 to 6 months in advance of actually purchasing a home. And then Kelly will really explain to you guys what, in her perspective, you should be doing to prepare. So I think we can talk about maybe the savings a little bit, right? And what to expect and how much of the person should be planning to save down. That would be number one. Maybe you can go over that a little bit.
Yep, I would say to get started, it's right after the holidays, so not everybody has a whole lot of savings, so they may use it for Christmas presents. But
Yeah.
now that we're getting into the spring, the thing to do is sit down, go through your bills. If you're a renter, you want to go through your bills, see what you pay above and beyond your rent, because when you purchase a house, you're going to have to pay everything.
Yeah.
So you may not have to pay for garbage. You may not have to pay for street lights or
Water
just
sometimes.
Water.
Even.
Yeah, there's certain things when you're renting that you're not always paying that the property management is paying.
Big one is taxes.
Yes, the big one is definitely taxes.
Yeah.
So, and because when you purchase a house, not only when you escrow, you need that full year of taxes up front, but then that gets included in with your payment each month. So it gets split out 12 ways, and so you need to think about, okay, well, what do I want my payment to be? So my rent may be $1,000 a month. If I want to stay around that, that's where you kind of have to look at, what your other expenses are that you have that maybe you want to cut back on to be able to make a higher
Ooh,
payment.
Kelly, maybe just wait a second. It looks like you may be muted. So let's check on your mic. So your mic is muted right there.
Oh.
Yeah. So can you get up there? Yeah.
Oh.
I can check. Let's see if I can get a confirmation from someone that if they are able to hear us. Just want to make sure you guys can hear Kelly. So technical problems. I just see that your mic is muted here. So. Oh, there you go.
Oh, I clicked this down here.
Oh, so now it's showing you're muted.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, I don't know why it was clicked.
Now
Okay.
it's going.
All right, moving on. Sorry, technical difficulties. I
Yes.
thought it would work out with both of us being here, but clearly not.
Yeah, we should have tested ahead of time.
So
So going back, we're talking on the savings,
savings
setting up your budget.
and setting up your budget, and you want to sit down and go through. I would say the first thing is to sit down and go through all of your stuff here. It's after the holidays. What credit cards do you have? Because I'm sure may have ranked them up a little bit. Just to kind of, my husband and I, we manually write everything down on a piece of paper, and it's very old school, but it works the best for us. Lots of people have spreadsheets. We just writing it all down. When we sit down and do it together, makes us see what expenses we have. Because when you purchase a house versus renting, you're going to have more expenses that you'll be paying for. The main thing is taxes. The real estate taxes you do not pay, but there's going to be some other miscellaneous bills that you don't pay, like street lights. You're going to pay garbage. You're going to pay water.
Maybe some of the utilities you don't currently pay.
Yep. There's going to be lots of different things.
And you also have to take in consideration that now you have a home where the maintenance is your responsibility. So you never know what could potentially arise from having a home. So it's always good to have a little cushion saved up for additional expenses that may rise, from ownership. And really understanding what is a good budgeted monthly payment that you feel comfortable will actually help determine the purchase price that you should be going for. And that will also, adjust your expectations, because a lot of people sometimes don't realize, like, oh, I want this and this and this and this in my home. And then that home expectation kind of falls into X amount of purchase. But then when you actually break it down and look at, okay, that purchase price, how much would be the monthly payments? Now that monthly payment's no longer exactly what you're looking for, that fits your budget, your specific budget. And a lot of people don't think about that, right? Sometimes they may be approved for much more than what they are willing to actually pay monthly. And I think that's a big one that for people to prepare mentally, of like, okay, what is my desired monthly payment that's comfortable within my personal budget, regardless of how much you can actually qualify for. Right, Kelly?
Yes.
A lot of people don't take that into perspective, but defining your personal budget is very, very important. So it helps your agent, hopefully me, determine a good purchase price that will make sense financially for you and your family.
Correct. And it's always good to have a couple months reserves. The norm is 6 months reserves, but at least 2 is good as well. But up to 6 months reserves in the bank. And just like Nini said, if you're paying, maybe there's a number you want to stick out, you're paying in rent, or you're okay going a little bit above. So that's where you reach out to me to get your, I offer free consultations, or if you're ready for your pre-approval, that's one of the things that you do first. With a pre-approval, I would need to do a hard pull to have an initial pre-approval, but I was muted when we talked about the soft pull. But
that's right.
So just again, I can do a soft pull just to review your credit. It will not hurt your credit if I do a soft pull on your credit, which I can do.
Yeah. And
but yes, just sitting down and going through all your bills to see where you can save, where you don't need to spend extra. That cup of Starbucks every day, you maybe limit it once or twice a week. It's amazing how you sit down and look at how much you're spending in that. Just putting that money aside each month, or out of every pay, adds up for you to have savings. So that's one of the big things about going through all your bills and looking at what you're paying, because when it does come time for you to purchase a house, you are going to have more, but it's also your house. So if something goes wrong that doesn't get covered under your homeowner's insurance, you have to pay for it. So, homeowner's insurance is key, but there are going to be things that the homeowner's insurance is not going to pay for.
Yeah.
And you have to keep that in mind, because if there's something goes wrong in your apartment right now, you can go to property management and be like, oh,
I want this fixed.
Correct. So I can say you're going to have ENITs. It's a really good example. I had that when I lived in an apartment. You you don't have to worry about. You call property management and they get an exterminator in and they take care of ants, bugs, or whatever kind of bug that you have. But if it's in your house, your homeowner's insurance doesn't cover.
Yes.
So you have to, get in contact with Ehrlich or somebody to do that, and that's a cost to you.
Exactly.
So there are many things that you need to do when it comes to looking at your budget. The other thing coming up is it's tax time.
Yay!
So it's good for some people, not for others.
Yeah, true.
So if you're self-employed, we need that tax return done. Now it's January, so it is a little early.
Yeah.
Some people get right on it. Some people don't. I don't really know what the percentage is, who doesn't. I come across a lot of people who don't. Obviously, you can get it extended, but we need, as the lender, we need to see those tax returns done. At least a 2-year history, at least.
So if you're planning for spring purchase, make sure you're working on it now. So last time we were saying, like 4 to 6 months is the planning time, because there are things, especially depending on the time of the year, that you need to make sure is getting done. And taxes, if you're self-employed, that's one of them. If you're not self-employed, if you actually have a W-2, it's not as important.
No,
right?
it's not.
Yeah.
Obviously, yes, get your taxes done.
Yeah.
But we do check that to make sure you do your taxes, but not until after April 15th. Do we really check to see if you did your taxes?
Mhm.
To start for the spring, we would just need your W-2, which everybody should have a W-2 by January 31st. And if you are somebody who gets a return, that's a nice thing to keep in the bank and use that as your down payment, reserves, closing costs, whatnot. It's good to hang on to that money if you're looking to purchase a house. And, we don't question that. So, because it's, for a lot of people, it may be a big deposit. We wouldn't question that because we would see it coming from the IRS, whether it's automatically deposited or you receive a check in the mail or whatnot. We are able to prove that. And that is a big thing. So if you are getting one, then it makes sense to do your taxes sooner than later to see what that return is on your.
Because you will help you with your costs, right? It will give you a little bit extra money to use towards your down payment and closing costs, which if you have questions about, what to expect as far as costs overall when buying your home, please watch our episode about the closing costs. We really break it down and explain to you guys percentages, exact amounts of what you expect when you're buying a home. But just keep in mind that you could use your return to actually cover the down payment and closing costs that you may be expecting to have when purchasing this spring. So,
and the only thing I want to say, and I try to say in every single one of these, is talk to your lender first.
yes,
Find out
to Leslie, to Kelly.
before you reach out to Nini for to go look at houses, don't waste her time if you are not quite there yet. So, I don't have to do a pre-approval. Like I said, it's free. You can call me anytime and we can sit, we can talk about what you can afford. And that's
really, and I'm having the information here below. So if you feel like you are, in that position where you're thinking about it and you want to get started, but don't know yet what you expect and would like to do a free consultation, do reach out to Kelly and then just kind of get started on that and understand, what you need to do and better position yourself for buying this spring, which our last episode we did explain about how to be competitive, and we are expecting that potentially the spring is going to be a little bit more competitive because everybody's coming into the market with the same idea of using their tax returns and better prepared for a purchase. So just expect that there may be some competition. Overall, the market inventories is still low, as we're not in a balanced market at all. We're definitely not on a buyer's market yet, but in the end of this, I'm gonna kind of go over what to expect overall market in 2023, so you guys gonna have an idea. And it's not going to be like it has been a really strong seller's market, but it's definitely not overall buyer's market. But we're seeing more possibilities and more room of negotiation for the buyers overall. So if you want to really understand and prepare yourself, make sure you give a call to Kelly and get started on that ASAP. So she can, get you in line and prepared for it. I think one more thing that we can mention too about getting ready is about credit, right? A lot of people may already have a pretty good credit score. But a lot of people don't, or the better you can get, the better it is, because the interest rates they're overall high, but if you have a better score, you can get a better rate. So the better you can get your score at for the spring, the better it will be for you. And one of the things you can do is correct some errors or inquiries that may be incorrect or anything that may be funky looking on your score. You can actually take care of that. And if you do talk to Kelly, she can actually show you those and point things out that you may be able to remove or get it corrected prior to getting your pre-approval, and then that will help you, like I said, lower your interest rate, right, Kelly?
Yes, because I actually have a system in my loan system that can get it removed off your credit report. So, yes, and I have helped people. So credit is definitely huge. And, if I do the soft call, we can sit and we can look at it, talk about it, and see what we can do to help increase your score if need be.
Yes, exactly. And one thing too that people don't realize is that by talking to you, they will be able to better understand what kind of mortgage options are available to them as well, right? Because
Yes.
You don't just have, and we talked about this myth before, you just don't have to be a conventional loan with 20% down. There's other options out there in, the FHA is 3.5%. You may actually qualify for a conventional 3%, depending where you are at. And then when you talk to Kelly, she can kind of go over all the options that you may qualify for and explain to you how to better prepare for that specific type of mortgage. Yeah. So that's something to keep in mind. And also, interest rate is not the only thing you should be focusing on. If for some reason you decide that you want to shop around and look at more than just one lender, one thing you should be looking at also is the APR. That is really what determines the cost of the loan that you're going to be paying with that lender. And Kelly maybe can explain a little bit better on how to look at that and what to expect when talking to a loan officer.
Yes, when you get a fee estimate, I give a fee estimate out to all of my pre-approvals, but I would get one, and you'll have your interest rate, which is what you pay monthly, but then you also have your APR, which is your annual percentage rate, and that is what you pay in total over the life of the loan, including all of the lender's costs. So if that lender is charging you more, if the APR, say you have an interest rate of 6.5, but your APR is like 6.925 for my fee estimate, and you're looking at somebody else and their APR is like 7.5. Well, they are putting more fees in there because the APR is what you pay in total, the total amount of fees that you pay when you purchase a house. So that's something to look at, and I can always, you can share the fee estimate with me and I can show you what the difference is. Yes, APR is definitely a big thing to look at, because if your APR with a lender is much higher than another lender, then you need to question that. I would definitely question it, because that means they're charging you more than what somebody else may be charging you.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know how to compare lenders, and they think they just gonna talk to one and be done. I mean, unless you're talking to Kelly, that's fine, it can be done.
Yes, you talk to me, that's all you need.
But if you are looking to shop around, which is I always recommend it, you do want to do your research. I would say looking at the APR is really where you see the cost overall of that loan, but there's other fees too, like origination fees. You have to really ask for that fee estimate, because that lender, when you're looking at interest rates, sometimes the lender may be giving you a lower interest rate, but on the back end, they're also charging you points. That other lender that has a pretty close interest rate is not charging you. So there's a lot of things that go into it. And if you don't know what to look for, it can really like you can put yourself in a position that is not necessarily ideal financially. So know what you look for: origination points, interest rate points that may be charging you to lower it, your APR overall, and again, talking to a loan officer ahead of time and understanding those things, and also having a realtor that kind of explain to you and guide you through the process is really key, to get you ready for that. Um, so now, just to kind of get you a little bit of a perspective what to expect. Do you want to add anything else before we move on, though?
Nope,
You good?
I'm good.
Okay. So just to give you a perspective of what to expect in 2023, we have seen definitely a huge increase in prices, and a lot of people are debating like, should I even be buying a home in 2023 with the prices being so high? Am I buying a house on the high end and it's going to burst? Is that a bubble? We're not in a bubble. The prices of the houses are naturally still climbing, but they're definitely not rising as quickly as they have been in the past 2 years. Just to give you some perspective, we're actually expecting the home prices to be relatively flat increase this year at 0.3%, in comparison to 2022. And then from 2021 to 2022, we actually saw a 9.6% increase. So just to show you the difference, this year is going to be 0.3, so pretty much nothing. And the previous year, that before that, which was the year of COVID, 2020 to 2021, we saw an 18.2 increase. So that's why, what we saw this past 2 years was kind of crazy. Oh my gosh, the prices just went up so dramatically, but this year is finally flattening out. It's not declining. So for homeowners, this is still pretty good news. If you already own a home and you're looking to sell, it's still a pretty good time to sell, but you're just not seeing a decline, you're seeing an increase, but it's just not as crazy as it has been. For current homeowners, you can actually expect about 1.3% increase on your home this coming year. So don't worry if you're looking to sell, you're still selling on a rise, you're not selling on a fall. So just keep that in mind. And then just talk about some advantages of being a buyer in 2023. As you just spoke, we're seeing a flat, price rise for homes, which is good. That means you're just continuing with that same price range. We are also seeing the mortgage rates are starting to stabilize. So the interest rates are expected to be between 5.2 and 6.8, and that's pretty much what you're seeing too, right, Kelly? Just around that, you think? Is that?
I would say between 5.5 to 7.
7.5 to 7.
Yeah, but
Okay.
give or take. It depends on the product, the
Yeah.
person, the price. It's hard to. It's better to give a bigger range because you just never know.
Yeah, that's pretty close. 5.2, 6.8, so 5.5 to 7. Yeah, and I think that's the national expectation too. So of course we're gonna be seeing that differences in states, or sometimes even depending on the person itself. Because again, your credit score is a huge key factor when it comes to interest rates. So if your score is better, you're going to definitely be more on that lower end expectation of the 5.5 to 5 to 6. But if your score is a little lower, you probably can expect to have 6.5 to 7. So just keep that in mind. And then also, buyers are, like I said, going to have better negotiating room this coming 2023, which we are already starting to see. At least I am starting to notice that, where homes are starting to sit for a little longer. Of course, there are some still pocket markets that are still pretty heated, pretty competitive, but overall, the houses are sitting in the market longer, and the buyers can come in and actually try to negotiate a better deal. And by negotiating a better deal, that could mean lower price. It could mean that you can get potentially seller's assistance, which if that is the case, always remember that you can do the 2-in-1 buy down. If you don't know what that means, watch our episode about the 2-in-1 buy down. But it lowers your interest rate by 2% the first year, 1% the second year, and then goes back to normal. And at that point, we're hopeful, 2 years from now, the interest rates are going to be much lower, and then you can refinance with Kelly and get yourself a better rate at that point. So, great things coming this 2023, and I think overall we're still going to have a pretty busy market, but at least not as crazy as far as being difficult for buyers. I think it's going to be a little more flexible and more kind to the buyers this year, where you can definitely have a little more power, negotiate better deals for yourself. But in the selling side, it's still a pretty good market for the sellers because overall, low inventory, more buyers than houses, and your prices are still in the rise. Like I said, 150% is expected this year as far as equity increases on your homes. So that's all I have for today. We're running on. Look at that.
Yes.
And good news, Kelly. Looks like even though you're muted, my mic is picking up your voice. So
Oh, well, that's good.
it was just quieter because it was further away, but I think you're not completely gone from us. So it was the whole beginning of it. So I guess that's all we have. Kelly, do you have anything to add for us today?
I don't.
Yeah. Are you excited for the 23 market?
I am.
Me too.
It's been a little slow, so
Yeah.
I like to be busy. So,
Yes, me too.
so everybody who's looking to get ready for the spring market, give me a call. I
We're ready.
love to help people get ready for it and ready to purchase a house. So.
Yes. Yeah, holidays are always a lower time of the year. And then, we see that slow increase as we move into tax season. So if you still want to get a better yet deal, call us right now and get started now, because if you're expecting to wait until springtime, it's definitely going to be a little more competitive. So if you want to beat that and get started sooner, just give us a call and we'll help you get started and get set up ready right away. Otherwise, prepare yourself for spring or summertime and we'll be your friend.
That's right.
Have a good one, guys.
All right. Bye.
Bye.